Welcome to Baroque Notes, Music of the Baroque series of virtual pre-concert talks. I'm program annotator Jen Moore, here to talk about Baroque Blockbusters, a program that could also be called three of my favorite pieces of music. Guest conductor Richard Egarr, who is a legend in the world of classical music, brings together three Baroque composers who in some ways are very different: Johann Sebastian Bach, George Frideric Handel, and Henry Purcell. Bach and Handel were born in 1685, relatively close to one another, but they never met and made their livings in completely different ways. Bach is a Lutheran composer in Germany, and Handel is an opera and oratorio composer in England. Purcell was born nearly 30 years earlier, but he died in 1695 when he was just 36. Bach and Handel were only 10. Purcell was a central figure in the Restoration, the period of time during which theater and music were coming back to life in England after being severely suppressed during the interregnum. What links these three composers, besides the fact that they all flourished in the Baroque era, is their boldness, creativity, and dramatic flair. This will become increasingly clear, I hope, over the course of my short talk. I'll start with Bach's Brandenburg Concerto No. 5, which may have begun life as a very ambitious job application. In 1721, Bach gathered 6 concertos and dedicated them to Christian Ludwig, the Margrave of Brandenburg. In the dedication, Bach is almost painfully polite. He writes that he humbly hopes His Royal Highness will continue his good graces, and that he longs to be employed in matters more worthy of his service. In other words, here are 6 extremely impressive orchestral works. Please give me a job. The Margrave did not, but the music transcends the failed job application. Whether Bach conceived the 6 Brandenburgs as a unified artistic set is still under debate, but what is clear is that each concerto experiments with instrumentation and style. The 5th is perhaps the boldest. Its instrumentation is that of a trio sonata, 2 treble instruments, in this case violin and flute, with a supporting continuo group that provides a harmonic foundation. Let's listen to a bit of a trio sonata written by Bach that does maintain this structure, as performed by the Netherlands Bach Society. The harpsichord sits politely in the background, doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The first movement of Brandenburg Concerto No. 5 starts out similarly, until all of a sudden the harpsichord breaks out as a soloist in an enormous unaccompanied cadenza. Some scholars hear this as social commentary, the servant instrument stepping into the spotlight. But it's not just a showcase of virtuosity. It's almost a redefinition of what a keyboard instrument can do in a Baroque orchestra. Here's Richard Egarr performing with the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra just a few months ago. For 1721, in nearly any time, really, this was audacious, and it stretches the form almost to breaking. For me, this is the moment when Bach sort of accidentally invented the rock guitar solo, but just 2 centuries early. If Bach is slightly subversive, Handel is unapologetically theatrical. Silete Venti is one of those Handel works that raises more questions than it answers. We don't know exactly when he wrote it, probably in London in the 1720s. We don't know exactly for whom. The Latin text sounds sacred, but the imagery is intensely sensual, possibly inspired by the Song of Songs. And the generic categories are just completely blurred. Is it a motet, a cantata, a devotional showpiece for a star soprano in a private salon? But from the first bars, Handel makes it clear that no matter the context, Silete Venti's inherent drama is what matters most. Richard Egarr built this program around our guest soprano, Rowan Pierce's voice, so the Handel and Purcell selections were chosen specifically to match her amazing technique and expressive talent. I think you'll really enjoy hearing her. The opening sinfonia begins with dignified dotted rhythms, something almost ceremonial. Then the strings and oboes start to bustle and churn as if a storm is brewing. At the height of the commotion, the soprano enters and commands, Silete Venti, be silent winds, and the orchestra obeys. This is Ars Lyrica Houston with Sherazade Pantaki, a singer who has been with Music of the Baroque many times. Handel's sensitivity to text is everywhere in this piece. Let's listen to one more example in the aria Dulcis Amor. The word care or dear occurs again and again on higher pitches, intensifying the sense of longing. And at transfige me, transfix me, the chromatic harmonies twist gently underneath, hinting at something both pleasurable and dangerous. There are many, many instances of wonderful word and music connections in Silete Venti, so listen closely for them. Well, one more detail I'd like to mention quickly. Handel was perfectly comfortable borrowing from himself. Parts of Silete Venti come from earlier works, and he reused material from Silete Venti again in later works, for example, in Esther. People have tried to explain this as time pressure, he was busy, or just practicality. But remember, this was long before our age of recording and reproduction. Composers in the Baroque didn't treat musical material as sacred and untouchable. There was no copyright violation. If an idea was good, you refined it and reshaped it so that it could actually continue to live. And in this case, it lives very well. On to Henry Purcell. Born in 1659, Purcell is the central figure of the English Baroque. After his death at only 36, as I mentioned, the poet John Dryden wrote that even the nightingale fell silent. Dryden was clearly taking a bit of poetic license. Purcell's gift was truly magnificent, and it's amazing to think about what he might have gone on to do had his life not been cut so short. He doesn't just set text beautifully, he captures psychological states with startling immediacy. You feel the emotional turn as it happens. One reason for his popularity in Restoration England was the genre of semi-opera, a hybrid form combining spoken drama with elaborate musical masks. The Fairy Queen from 1692 is based on a Restoration adaptation of A Midsummer Night's Dream. Each act ends with a self-contained musical mask, overtures, dances, airs, choruses, these magical interludes that illuminate the play rather than advance its plot. For this concert, Richard Egarr has drawn from across those masks, giving us both the lively orchestral numbers, such as Dance of the Green Men and Monkey's Dance, with some of Purcell's most affecting vocal writing. Selfishly, I'm going to talk first about my favorite air, If Love's a Sweet Passion. If you've listened to this on repeat as much as I have, you may wish to know that Egarr has chosen the instrumental prelude and air, but not the concluding chorus. Purcell captures love's paradox, simultaneous pleasure and torment in a single melodic line. Listen in particular to what happens in the melody at the words, "Yet how pleasing the pain is, how soft is the dart." Again, this is Ars Lyrica Houston. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Plaint, "Oh, Let Me Weep." Here, Purcell uses a chromatic ground bass, a repeating pattern in the lowest voice, over which the soprano spins a line of almost unbelievable poignancy. The repetition creates a sense of inevitability, while the melody on top communicates the singer's vulnerability. This is one of Purcell's great expressive techniques, using the structure to actually heighten emotion rather than confine it. This recording features soprano Sylvia McNair. Baroque Blockbusters is just a fantastic program, and what I love about it are the bold approaches each composer takes to music. Bach expands the role of an instrument and stretches form from the inside. Handel transforms a devotional Latin text into vivid theatrical drama. Purcell takes words that are relatively straightforward and infuses them with a world of emotion. It's a great reminder, I think, that Baroque music is built on invention and drama. It may be a product of the past, but it's as risky and intensely alive today in live performance as classic rock music. And I'm so glad you'll be with me to hear Baroque Blockbusters on March 1st at the North Shore Center in Skokie, March 2nd at the Harris Theater in downtown Chicago, and on demand from March 6th through April 6th. Thank you so much.